response, Mr. President?
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. Now, you knew I'd get to him sooner or later, right? I mean, we've been doing these videos for about 2 months now. You knew sooner or later I'd get to Joe Biden. But I didn't want to do just a normal, run-of-the-mill Joe Biden video. Oh, no. I wanted to wait for something big. And what I've seen going on in Joe Biden's response to the Maui wildfires, it's just about as big as it gets. But before we get to the video, just a reminder for the big news that we broke about the channel this week, we got merch. That's right, we designed t-shirts just for you guys, whether you're partisan, non-partisan, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're just a fan that's sick and tired of buffoons. We got a shirt for that. Maybe you like my concept of the People's Republic of New York. We got a shirt for that. Maybe you want to send a message saying that you want to stop voting in buffoons. We got that too. We're adding new designs every day. You can check out the shirt by going to our YouTube channel, clicking on store, or you can also go to shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. But back to the reason why you're here. Joe Biden did the rounds, as a president is supposed to do, surveying damage, going to community events, making speeches, all the stuff that you'd expect. But the reason I'm going to highlight this particular speech is this is supposed to be Joe Biden at his most empathetic. He's going to try to relate to the plight of those Hawaiians who lost everything with a story of his own. But before we get to it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share, all that good stuff, and especially please subscribe to the channel. Let's get to Joe Biden trying to be empathetic, and then I'm going to show you why it's all a ruse. It's actually quite callous.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake. It's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my '67 Corvette.
Oh, heaven forbid you lose your Corvette. I mean, I'm sure everyone in Maui that lost everything really cares about your damn Corvette.
And my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters, the way they responded. You know, there's an old expression. I grew up right across the street from a fire hall in Claymont, Delaware. And the expression is, God made man, then he made a few firefighters. You're all crazy, thank God. The only people who run into flames to help other people. And they ran into flames to save my wife and save my family. Not a joke. The smoke, and the firefighters here can tell you, sometimes smoke is so thick from the windows out, it was that thick inside the home. And we were insured. We did not have any problem, but being out of our home for a better part of a year was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your home completely, burned to the ground, and more importantly, all the things that matter to you.
Now, you may be saying to yourself, what's wrong with that speech? It seemed plenty empathetic to me. You're just being a buffoon, Gene. Well, I would agree with you if it wasn't a canned political speech. Through some research, the RNC found multiple instances of this story being relayed to other victims of tragedies and actually used as a stump speech. Let's just go through them.
Jill and I have not gone through what you have gone through, but we have had lightning strike our home and almost lose our home.
This is from the Colorado wildfires from January of 2022. Maybe it sounds a little familiar to you.
And we only lost about 25% of it we were able to rebuild. But the hard part is the memorabilia you lost, the special things that you had put away that you lost.
This is from a stump speech given before the International Association of Firefighters in March of 2022.
Lightning struck in a pond behind my house, went up underneath conduit, caught fire underneath the floorboards of my house. And it was during the summer, air conditioning was on, smoke that thick, all 3 stories. The reason I can show you that is because every piece of furniture had to be replaced because of the smoke. But guess what? My fire company was there to go in and save my wife, get her out, the cat, and my 67 Corvette.
It's literally the same speech. Here it is again with another firefighter association in October of 2022.
Yeah, I was doing Meet the Press, and lightning struck in a little pond behind my house, came up through the ground into the air conditioning system, ended up generating thick black smoke, literally that of those proportions. And from the basement to the 3rd floor, the attic, everything was ruined. And the kitchen floor, we almost lost a couple firefighters, they tell me, because the kitchen floor was the burning between the beams in the house, in addition to almost collapsed into the basement.
And finally, in Florida, in response to Hurricane Ian, the same damn story.
How much anxiety and fear and concern there are in the people. We didn't lose our whole home, but lightning struck and we lost an awful lot of it about 15 years ago.
You see, it's the same thing over and over again. That's why I'm saying it's callous. But let's do a little fact check. Let's see what the real story is behind the damage that the Bidens suffered in this horrendous fire. So here's a story from Fox News. Biden has repeatedly told exaggerated house fire story to victims of tragedy. This was reported yesterday on Fox's website. President Biden's retelling of a 15-year-old story about a minor fire at his Delaware home is facing renewed backlash after he told victims of the deadly Hawaii wildfires Monday he shared, quote, a little sense of what they were going through. We just saw the clip of that. While visiting the fire-ravaged remains of Maui, Biden recalled the fire that started at his Wilmington house due to lightning. Biden has recalled the story multiple times in recent years in an apparent attempt to connect with victims of natural disasters, and we went through all that. But a 2004 report from the Associated Press, which is archived in LexisNexis, which I'll probably see if I can check that out later, said lightning struck the Biden's home and started a, quote, small fire that was contained to the kitchen. Sounds a lot less worse than the 3 stories of damage and the smoke that was this thick and everything being ruined, his poor 67 Corvette, and all that other nonsense. The report said firefighters got the blaze under control in 20 minutes, and they were able to keep the flames from spreading beyond the kitchen. And as I said, the RNC posted these videos on Twitter to show the multiple variations of the story. This is why I call Joe Biden callous. He is not empathizing the way a normal person would. He has a political stump speech that he goes to show empathy, to put on the airs of empathy. It's not really him being empathetic. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. Now, I do have some other criticism for the whole response to the Maui wildfires, but it's not necessarily for Joe Biden. It's for Democrats in general. Take a look at Joe Biden surveying the damage in Maui. Notice anything about his gait? Notice anything about the way he's walking around? It doesn't look like he's all there. It looks like he's very feeble-bodied. It looks like that he's being led around, not leading the walk around. And it just seems like we've been talking about his feeble body, his feeble mind, his feeble mentality here. It's not good, and the world is noticing. Now, I wasn't going to go into the whole is he asleep, isn't he asleep moment from a video that was caught in Maui, but let's just take a look at it. Joe Biden here it looks like he's nodding off, but if you look at some more enhanced video, it shows that his eyes are open. But for me, it's not about whether he's asleep or not asleep. This is just another sign of a feeble-bodied president who seems like he's not aware. The very fact that we're questioning whether or not he was asleep here or if he was awake is bad enough as it is, and the world is starting to notice. Now, this is from Sky News Australia, and the commentators here certainly took note of how absent Joe Biden was in giving this speech.
Let's just have a look at a little bit of Joe Biden's performance, his speaking in Hawaii, and the way he gets everybody's names and everything mungled up. Have a look.
Brian Chance, our senator, Senator Maisie. By the way, Maisie, I told my granddaughter, whose name is Maisie as well. She said, that's why I like her. Anyway, but her name is Maisie as well. And Jill Takuda, Representative Ed Chase, and Mayor Rick Bassin. Rick, when we talked on the phone, you look like you played in defensive tackle for, I don't know who, but somebody good.
Yeah, he looked like he played defensive tackle for somebody good. And if we just show the White House transcript up here, they've had to correct all the names he got wrong and everything. I mean,
okay, let's take a look at this for a moment, and you tell me, does this look like a person who's got it together? I'll let you be the judge. Now, I want you to think back, way back to the presidency of George W. Bush and his handling of Hurricane Katrina, and how he was excoriated for delaying in his response to survey the damage in New Orleans. Have you seen any of that with Joe Biden? Everyone covers for this man. They cover for his feeble mind, his wandering voice, his wandering body, and now they cover for his lack of a response in Hawaii by not calling him out on it the way that they called out George W. Bush back in 2005. There's no doubt about it, folks. This is a weekend at Bernie's presidency. The man just doesn't have it anymore, and everyone and their mother is covering for Joe Biden, and they're going to have to for the next year as the 2024 election approaches. It's going to be very interesting to see how they actually get this done. So that's going to do it for this video. Please, as always, like, comment, share the show with your friends, and above all else, subscribe to the channel. Maybe check out a little merch in our store, shop.buffoonoftheweek.com, or right below this video in our YouTube shop. And the reason why we want you to do all these things, I know I was asking a lot, but the reason why we want you to do it is because we want to continue having conversations just like this one, where we discuss all the shenanigans and buffoonery that's going on this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.